Greetings and welcome. My name is Michael Miller, and this is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, my patrons. I encourage you to become a patron. Long after I'm gone, I encourage you to become a patron to support the point of view, the website, the existence on Facebook and YouTube. And it's also meant for anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. And that's where I usually ended. But now I've expanded my target audience, which I'll get to at the end of the broadcast. So there's 3 things today. Number 1 is pain is a drunk at your party. Number 2 is why heels together. And number 3 is about 2 feelings. So, this is a tune-up fitness ball from Alpha Ball. Maybe it is the Alpha Ball from tuneupfitness.com. It's hard, it's rubbery, and what happens if I let go of it? Will it drop? Are you sure? Okay. Unless magic's involved, you know that it's going to drop because of gravity. So why is this ball the subject of number 1, pain is a drunk at your party? I got fond of this analogy when I was doing a workshop a while ago on the main line in Philadelphia, and numerous members of my audience had a familiar coiffure that was a gray bluish tint. Okay, very stylish, very attractive, but generally worn or adorned by people who are old enough and rich enough to have entertained in their life. So when I come out with this metaphor of what it's like to have a drunk at your party, I had the attention of people that suffered that malady before. What do you do with them? And so when I make the metaphor that how you react to pain is how you react to a drunk at your party, the alternatives that I point out are, if you confront the drunk, right? If you pretend there is no pain and you work right through it, you ignore it as though it isn't there, or confront it because it is there, then the drunk makes a scene and ruins the party. I guess I'm mixing my metaphors because I was talking about then the other alternative is just ignore the drunk altogether. And the drunk gets drunker and has their own way and ruins the party because they've made it all about them. And so I'm on a roll with this story to that particular audience. And I said, well, pain, I'm suggesting to you, is like a drunk at your party where you go up to them and you stand close to them. You explore their space, or right? You lean into their space, to allow them to retreat from that. It's not a direct confrontation, and it's not a complete submission to the will of the drunk, but it's an exploration of space, which is what you do with pain, in my opinion, one approach to it. There's a lot of others, but I look at pain as something not that you make effort in and make exercise for and that the pain goes away, but that you have to find release for the pain to go away. You have to find release for the pain to go away. And in finding release, the thing called upon, or for me what I think of, is leaning into your pain, exploring your pain in order to find the release of it. It's like pain is tight and you lean into it to find a let go of it. Very general terms and not scientific, and I don't pretend to be. But on several occasions, for me, one recently, a pain shows up in my back, in my chest somewhere, right? And it's like, whoa, what's that? And immediately feelings of doom and gloom arise. This ball, and I'm not trying to sell the ball, I'm pointing out that I used something to get to where I felt the pain, and in exploring it, in leaning into the drunk, allowed the drunk to recede away. And whether it's a ball or a foam roller or a spring, the way you attach yourself to a spring, or a TheraBand, or you connect to the door and the door jamb and you lean into it to find it. One approach to dealing with pain as though they're a drunk at your party is to lean into it until they recede from you and they're gone. Until the pain recedes and it is no more, under the assumption that in some way pain is a clench. And mostly I'm talking about stuff coming out of musculature situation. The body's way more complicated than what I'm talking about. And I don't mean my metaphor to extend beyond the scope of the perception projected. Number 2, why heels together? There's a standing posture where your heels are connected and your feet are open 60 degrees from the midline on a plumb line. And that 6 degrees is meant to account for the angle of the acetabulum in the pelvis as a means of what's neutral in the arrangement of the skeletal structure within gravity. The wind is howling and it's below freezing, and yet I still get to come here and share with you what matters most to me. And the specific subject of heels together, or Pilates V, it's the fact that they're together, the fact that they're touching, makes them in contact with one another. Means that each heel has a contact point with the other one. Right? And it's from contact points that you get stability and an opportunity to facilitate or trigger more uniform engagement. Heels together gives the platform of the rotation of your ankles an anchor. So heels together gives you a chance to trigger more muscles and to be more grounded from the contact and the utilization of it to engage more musculatures in the pursuit of developing the body more uniformly. The second thing in Joe's book that the MMP point of view is based on. And then number 3, 2 feelings. My mind has been all wrapped up in trying to write a speech about the presentation of CT and MMP. So a presentation is meant to be an explanation of CT and MMP. And then through my trying to organize the message in the speech, the thing that I'm pointing to as really important to make my point about in the bigger subject I'm talking about, like a sock that's turned inside out the wrong way, you reach inside and pull the sock inside out, and it's what I'm pointing to that's important, that is the point of the speech. And that is, my third title is titled 2 Feelings. You know, in my mind I'm talking about theories, and theories being suppositions to explain something, right? And then what is it that these 2 theories are about is, well, that whatever it is about, the point is that you can feel them both. And so all of a sudden the sock pulls inside out, and that is the subject of the speech is about 2 feelings. One feeling is oppositional rotation between axes, and the other feeling is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. Coordination of 3 parts of your body, one part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. That's, in MMP point of view, is considered the mind. Your mind is a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. My sign language for here is thinking, right? And then back here are areas of the brain called the amygdala and the hippocampus. And those areas of the brains feed information into the thinking. And so within the MMP POV, the challenge is to coordinate your being, your thinking, and your observing and considered possible to experience as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. Doing Pilates is diving in and pursuing a coordination of your 3 capacities that in the coordination is a feedback loop that influences the expression of your moving. You respond to what you get from your moving sensationally by what you observe, and that feeds into your thinking and how you seek to express or have more control in your moving. It's paying attention to what you're doing and listening to what you're sensing out of your own effort, and having that feed into the way you make your effort. That's the other feeling. Now, in Joe's book, where was I going to go with that? The definition is the state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. The very next paragraph, contrology develops the body uniformly, makes the target whole body. You move in Pilates in a whole body way. It's 11:11 a.m. Hello, Ari baby. The second thing in Joe's book, Contrology Develops the Body Uniformly, is the first feeling that I'm talking about sharing, and that's your ability to engage in core new tension, and how that helps you be more uniformly engaged in your effort. Because that's how the body has evolved its ability to do what it does in the physics that it's in. That's pretty well said right there. Do what it does in the physics that it's in. So this feeling that you can, without smacking your neighbor, you can roll your shoulders back and roll your shoulders forward in this whole idea of doing it as though it's on a line, because it is, rotating here at the shoulders. And you can rotate the ears without really bothering anybody around you if you're in a crowd listening to this. And between rotating around your ears and rotating your shoulders back, and perhaps pulling away from an unwanted kiss in order to bring your ears over your shoulders to engage in what I call and have named core new tension, and defined as oppositional rotation between axes, and describe as the way the body engages itself to move through space. But it's the feeling that I need to point to, because I feel great when someone sends me a text that says, I found core new tension between the ears and the shoulders. What makes Pilates is pursuing that state of being in the body in the moment of the doing, in the performance of the sequence, the third thing out of the book that MMP says makes Pilates. It's not, you can be race car driving or deeply engaged in your sewing or any kind of an activity where you're coordinated in what you're sensing and thinking and doing in the effort of doing it. When it comes to doing Pilates, the doing it is the choreography. So I was using this ball, having done it before, to treat my pain like a drunk at my party, because my party is my body, my overall sensation of well-being and being pain-free. And someone intrudes on that, or pain intrudes on that, like being drunk at my party. I encourage you to what? To don't do anything that hurts. That's the key thing. Don't just push through it, or don't try to ignore it, because it's talking to you. But definitely explore it, and explore it in the gentlest way possible, with the target in your effort of being a release and not feeling any pain, where you're standing, or to the extent that you're leaning. Find some interaction, and then don't press it, and find release at there. Right? Lean in a little, get some retreat from the drunk, until, all of a sudden, they're outside and getting some fresh air, and you may have more chance to say something, or temper the situation, because you have more options. Heels Together is about Joe's statement about contrology develops the body uniformly. And when your heels are together in footwork on the reformer, or stomach massage, or wherever, in a turned out position, heels together in a Pilates V is about a contact point that gives you more grounding and more opportunity to trigger more uniform usage from the contact point. And finally, the two things that are most fun to share are the feelings, or the best thing to share is the feeling. And if not it directly, then at least news about it, so that they can discover the why and the wherefore and whatever on their own. But taking the focus to being the sensation, that is what the speech is about. Two feelings. And then all my worry about theory, in terms of what is it that I'm explaining, because it's like, here's all of the intellect to get to the feeling. Once you get to the feeling and turn the sock inside out to have it right, my takeaway is know what you know. Always. Jonathan, thank you. Give me that. Although it's me telling Jonathan and Jonathan reflecting it back to me. I usually teach what I get reflected back, because if it reflected at all, hoping that it would gain some more from the reflection. I guess that's a laser inclination in me. And so that's why in my intro, it's really more than just people that want to survive and thrive teaching Pilates. It's to anybody that's open to the two feelings to be had from what I'm talking about. I hope there's some progression of focus in the course of my broadcasts. And I hope to encourage you to see yourself delivering my speech just like yoga teachers delivered the Bikram yoga workout, right? But instead of a moving thing, it's just the speech itself that would lead then, of course, to your signature session to follow up what you delivered in the speech, which is more information about the three things from and the two things that are the subject of the two feelings, and that the subject of the two feelings, a theory I'm learning, is a supposition meant to explain something, which is exactly what I have to share with you, are two theories about suppositions that are meant to explain something. One is meant to explain how your body engages itself to move through space. That's the definition of core nutension. And the other is the feeling of being completely coordinated in your being, thinking, and observing. Now you may say, well, I know what that's like, and there's no big deal in that, and that's true in a way. And yet, Joe says in his book, unless you're completely concentrated on performing the exercises according to their purpose, you're missing the point. I'm paraphrasing. Go read it. It's with that in mind that it's the pursuit of the choreography in the state of being in the body, in the moment of the doing, that's all wrapped up into a pursuit of the way you move And not only is it how you engage yourself, which is just, in a way, knowing how your anatomy has evolved to the point where dynamically this is what's going on in order to distribute the load of your body. There's hope in that. I forgot about that. Something about truth is openly rejected and ignored, and then it's something or other, and then it's accepted as obvious. I just need 1,000 years to get to accepted as obvious, and I don't have that long. So this is my pitch to you. To know that the focus from me is about two feelings. And one of them is how to engage in this kind of tension, and the other is how to be engaged when you're moving. I'm using that word engaged twice and maybe in a little bit different ways. To me, core nutension is just awareness of the biomechanics that the body has evolved into over millions of years. Maybe only a couple 100,000 years. But see, is it Homo sapiens only, which is like the last 200,000 years? Or to what extent is it any life form? How many life forms utilize this kind of biomechanics in order to move through space? don't know, don't care. All I do is recognize it as a means to developing the body uniformly, meaning moving uniformly, and until somebody else comes up with a concrete way and a sensational way that isn't an intellectual emperor with no clothes on. It doesn't happen in the intellect. That's what's great about CT and MMP, are the two feelings. And hope someday you become a MMP LP and have the brand stand behind you as you read the speech as I wrote it. Probably with your help. But the speech that points to the two feelings and where to go next if you want more. Life can't live forever, so read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Continue your contributive transformation. We all can't wait. Add two and two. Connect the dots. Evaluate points of view. Add two and two. Work on your own speech. Get signed up to deliver mine. Add two and two. See the economy we're going into and the individuality of the income streams and how they're working, how they work. Direct your thinking and Geist